Hello and welcome to BTV World Live from Islamabad. With the news this hour, I am Hira Mustafa.
Joining Hira Mustafa with the news of this hour, I am Ali Ahmed. Let us begin with the headlines.
Pakistan beat New Zealand by 7 wickets in the first semi-final at Sydney and qualified for the final of ICC T20 World Cup 2022. Pakistan achieved 153-run target for the loss of 3 wickets. Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan shared 105 runs opening stand.
बहुत मुबारक हो क्रिकेट मैच हमने जीती है अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह और दुआ करें कि फाइनल भी अल्लाह ताला सबील बना दे और फाइनल भी हम इंशाल्लाह जीत जाए पूरी कौम को मुबारक हो.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, President Dr. Arif Alvi and Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa congratulate Pakistan's cricket team on reaching the final of the ICC T20 World Cup 2022 in Sydney.
Federal government decides to withdraw appeals against federal Sharia court's riba verdict. Finance Minister Ishaq Dar assures to make efforts to promote Islamic banking in the country.
PTM Chief Maulana Fazlur Rahman lauds the government's step to withdraw appeals against the decision of the Shariat court on riba. He says Pakistan's economy is moving in the right direction and, of course, all the government decisions are being made with collective wisdom.
Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank approves $500 million as co-financing of Asian Development Bank funded BRACE program for Pakistan. Finance Minister Ishaq Dar says these funds will be received by State Bank of Pakistan within November 2022.
Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari arrives in Riyadh on a 2-day official visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia from today. He will co-chair the joint subcommittee meeting of the political and security pillar of the Saudi-Pakistan Supreme Coordination Council with his Saudi counterpart.
Nation pays tribute to poet, philosopher and leader of Pakistan movement Allama Muhammad Iqbal on his 145th birth anniversary.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and President Dr. Arif Alvi urged the nation to make a pledge to achieve Pakistan as dreamed by Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal, which should feature peace, political forbearance and brotherhood.
Army Chief General Javed Bajwa directs the troops to always stay focused on their professional duties in the service of the nation, appreciates the formation for monumental efforts in achieving peace and stability.
As U.S. election officials continue to count ballots across the country, partial results show that Democrats have avoided their worst fears, while Republicans are holding out hope that they will retake both chambers of the Congress.
Pakistan clinched bronze medal in the Sultan Azlan Shah Hockey Cup, beating Japan 5-3 in third position playoff in Ipoh, Malaysia. Well, those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Pakistan qualified for the final of ICC T20 World Cup 2022 in Sydney. In the first semi-final, Pakistan defeated New Zealand by 7 wickets at Sydney Cricket Ground. CTV Sports HD telecast the match live. More in this report by our sports desk.
Earlier, New Zealand captain Kane Williamson won the toss and elected to bat first. Pakistan set the tone at the Sydney Cricket Ground with some razor-sharp fielding and disciplined bowling that restricted New Zealand to just 152 for 4. Pakistan prime fast bowler Shaheen Shah Afridi struck in the first over when he got the key wicket of Finn Allen. Devon Conway was run out for 21 by Shadab Khan, who scored a direct hit from mid-off, and they suffered a big blow when Glenn Phillips was caught and bowled by Mohammad Nawaz for 6. After losing 3 wickets at 49, Williamson and Daryl Mitchell provided 68 runs for the stand of the 4th wicket. Daryl Mitchell and Williamson began taking more risks after reaching the 10-over mark at 59 for 3, with the first 6 coming in the 13th over. Williamson was undone on 46 by an Afridi Yorker after a knock that yielded only 2 boundaries before Mitchell and Jimmy Neesham added 29 runs in the final 3 overs. Mitchell remained top scorer with unbeaten 53 runs, hitting 3 fours and 1 6, whereas Neesham scored 16 not out. For Pakistan, Shaheen Shah Afridi backed 2, while Mohammad Nawaz took 1 wicket. In reply, Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan showed class as Pakistan achieved the 153-run target with the loss of 3 wickets in 19.1 overs.
He closed it out. Just set himself where he had. So tighter, but kept himself. Within the circle.
In front of 36,443 strongly pro-Pakistan spectators, Rizwan and Babar took apart the Black Caps' renowned bowling attack in a 105-run opening stand. Babar and Rizwan became the first pair in the world to put 3 century stands in T20 World Cup. Both batters completed their half-centuries. Rizwan remained top scorer with 57 of 43 balls. He smashed 5 fours in his innings. Babar Azam made 53 of 42, hitting 7 fours.
With another boundary. And that's the area, the region where Babar Azam will get one, and they were just going to settle on one, but he'll come back for a second, and he will pick up a wonderfully appreciated half-century. T20 International half-century for Mohammad Rizwan, and what an occasion.
Despite a slightly nervy finish after both fell, Mohammad Haris' 30 of 26 balls helped complete a deserved victory with 5 balls to spare. Haris smashed 2 fours and 1 sixes as Pakistan qualified for the finals. For New Zealand, Trent Boult took 2 wickets while Mitchell Santner bagged 1 wicket.
And Pakistan are absolutely ecstatic in the dugout. And why not? The first time in 13 years they have reached a World Cup final, and they have done it in style.
Mohammad Rizwan was declared player of the match. Pakistan will now meet either England or India, who play on Thursday in Adelaide in the November 13 decider at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Pakistan last claimed the title in 2009 at Lord's in England when they beat Sri Lanka by 8 wickets, and it has been a roller coaster ride in Australia to make another final.
Well, indeed, a great victory for Pakistan in today's semi-finals, and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, President Dr. Arif Alvi and Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa congratulated Pakistan cricket team on reaching the final of ICC T20 World Cup 2022 in Sydney. Now, President Dr. Arif Alvi and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif appreciated the Pakistan cricket team over their victory in the semi-final against New Zealand to reach the final. The Prime Minister tweeted, "Well done, Team Pakistan, for an incredible comeback." The Prime Minister also mentioned 3 traits of passion, commitment and discipline as a reference to the driving force behind the victory of the Pakistan cricket squad. President Dr. Arif Alvi also tweeted, "Well played, Pakistan," and particularly eulogized the excellent performances by Shaheen Shah Afridi, Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan and Haris. Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa also congratulated the national team on remarkable win.
बहुत मुबारक हो, क्रिकेट मैच हमने जीत लिया अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, और दुआ करें कि फाइनल भी अल्लाह ताला सबील बना दे और फाइनल भी हम इंशाल्लाह जीत जाए। पूरी कौम को मुबारक हो।
Meanwhile, federal government has decided to withdraw appeals against federal Sharia court's Riba verdict. It was stated by Finance Minister Senator Ishaq Dar in a televised message in Islamabad. The Finance Minister said that the government will make efforts to promote Islamic banking in the country. He highlighted that the government fully understands the difficulties in transforming the conventional banking into Sharia-compliant banking, adding that low savings ratio is one of the major problems of Pakistan's economy. He said 71% people expressed their interest in private Islamic banking system in a survey. The minister said the government fully understands that many institutions have filed appeals against Sharia court decision, but after extensive deliberations, the government has taken the decision.
More in this regard, Chairman Pakistan Democratic Movement Maulana Fazlur Rahman has welcomed the government's step to withdraw appeals against the decision of the Shariat court on riba. Talking to media along with the Finance Minister Ishaq Dar in Islamabad, Maulana Fazlur Rahman said Pakistan's economy is moving in the right direction and all the government decisions are being made with collective wisdom. Speaking on the occasion, the Finance Minister said progress towards an interest-free economic system is an important step. Earlier, Finance Minister Ishaq Dar held a meeting with PDM Chief Maulana Fazlur Rahman at his residence. Maulana Fazlur Rahman warmly welcomed Ishaq Dar. Later onwards in the meeting, both the leaders have discussed current political situation of the country and, of course, the other issues of the national importance as well.
Board of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank has approved $500 million as co-financing of Asian Development Bank funded BRACE program for Pakistan. In a tweet, Finance Minister Ishaq Dar said these funds will be received by State Bank of Pakistan within November 2022.
Now, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has arrived in Riyadh on a two-day official visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, during the visit, the Foreign Minister will co-chair the joint subcommittee meeting of the political and security pillar of the Saudi-Pakistan Supreme Coordination Council with its Saudi counterpart. The Foreign Minister will also hold a meeting with Secretary General of the GCC during his visit. Besides the official engagements, the Foreign Minister will have the interaction with the local media and other dignitaries of the kingdom. The visit of the Foreign Minister will further deepen Pakistan's engagement with Saudi Arabia for enhancing mutually beneficial cooperation between the two brotherly countries.
The birth anniversary of national poet Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal is being celebrated today across the country with national fervor. The day dawned with special prayers in Mosque for Progress and Prosperity of Pakistan. Known as Poet of East, Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal was born in Sialkot on November 9, 1877. He awakened the Muslims of the subcontinent through his universal poetry and political acumen by presenting the idea of the creation of Pakistan through his historic address at Allahabad in 1930. Allama Iqbal's address gave a clear direction and separate identity to Muslims of the subcontinent to achieve Pakistan.
In connection to the Iqbal's Day, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has also urged youth to take guidance from the ideology and teachings of the national poet Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Now, in a series of tweets on Iqbal's Day, the Prime Minister paid rich tribute to the great thinkers, saying every day of this month will be used to promote the thoughts of Allama Iqbal. He said a national committee consisting of well-known personalities is performing this duty. The Prime Minister said Allama Iqbal was not only a great philosopher, thinker and a writer, but also Qari and expounder of Quran. Shehbaz Sharif said the message of Iqbal is reaching the whole world out of the confinement of time and borders. He said Allama Iqbal's message is to be fulfilled by following Fikr-e-Iqbal.
President Dr. Arif Alvi urged the nation to be realigned their lives in accordance with the teachings of Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal of strengthening brotherhood and upholding the cherished values of liberty, justice, and equality. In his message on Iqbal's Day, the President said following Iqbal's teachings also focused on gaining modern knowledge of science and arts and embracing innovation and creation without compromising religious, social, and cultural values and preferences. He said on the day the nation paid tribute to one of the greatest thinkers, philosophers and poet of the East, Allama Iqbal, whose ideas, values and out-of-the-box thinking had inspired generations of writers and philosophers the world over. He paid tribute to the great poet for giving the idea of a separate homeland for Muslims of the subcontinent, where they could lead their lives in accordance with their religious, social and cultural values and without fear and intimidation of the majority Hindus.
Now, to pay respects, a change of guard ceremony was held at Mazar Iqbal in Lahore. A smartly turned out contingent of Pakistan Navy assumed the responsibility of guard from Punjab Rangers. Pakistan's Navy's Station Commander Commodore Sajid Hussain was the chief guest on the occasion. He offered Fatiha and also laid floral wreath at the mausoleum.
Punjab Governor Mohammad Baleeghur Rahman visited Mazar Iqbal, Lahore, in connection with the birth anniversary of national poet Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal. On the occasion, he laid floral wreath at the mausoleum and offered prayer. The Punjab Governor also penned down his comments in Visitor's Book and paid tribute to national poet.
Indeed, Allama Muhammad Iqbal played a prominent role in the struggle and creation of Pakistan. Now, to know more, let's watch the following report by our Lahore reporter Ali Danish. Let's have a look.
Pakistan today is celebrating the 145th birth anniversary of Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Called Poet of the East, Allama Iqbal was a writer, poet, philosopher and politician whose poetry is considered among the greatest of the 20th century. He played a prominent role in the Pakistan movement, creation of Pakistan, and is regarded as the ideological founder of the Muslim state. Nazar-e-Pakistan Trust Additional Secretary Mujahid Hussain Sayyid spoke to us about his contributions.
Allama Iqbal was the first leader in Indo-Pak who gave the idea of Pakistan in the Allahabad address of 1930. He said there are provinces which had Muslim majorities like North-West frontier, Sindh, Punjab, Balochistan. They should form a Muslim state. Furthermore, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was disillusioned with the state of affairs in India and had gone back to England, it was Allama Iqbal who called him back. He said, "You are the savior of Muslim and you can lead us to freedom in a Muslim state." And moreover, Allama Iqbal, with his poems and his writings, he gave new fervor and strength to the Muslim masses and the Muslim intellectuals, that they are a separate nation from Hindus and they can lead a separate life, a separate identity as a Muslim nation.
Various literary, educational, political, social and cultural organizations are holding special programs and events throughout the country to highlight the different aspects of Iqbal's life, achievements and teachings. Allama Iqbal was born in Sialkot on 9th November 1877 and passed away in Lahore on 21st April 1938. Reporting for PTV World, this is Ali Danish.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has attended the Sharm el-Sheikh Climate Implementation Summit at COP27. During his studio visit to Sharm el-Sheikh, the Prime Minister participated in several high-level events, held bilateral meetings with counterparts and also interacted with international media. Details in the following report by our correspondent Alamdar Qasmi.
At the Climate Summit, the Prime Minister co-chaired, together with the Norwegian Prime Minister, a high-level roundtable discussion on climate change and the sustainability of vulnerable communities. He attended the Middle East Green Initiative Summit hosted by the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia and participated in a high-level breakfast event on scaling up action and support on losses and damages, the Global Shield Against Climate Risks, which was co-hosted by the Chancellor of Germany and President of Ghana. The Prime Minister also delivered the national statement at the summit. In his interactions, the Prime Minister robustly put across Pakistan's national perspective as a developing country most affected by the negative impacts of climate change, with particular focus on the recent climate-induced floods in the country. He also also outlined the government's rehabilitation and reconstruction plans and invited world leaders to collaborate in Pakistan's effort to build back in a climate-resilient and sustainable manner. Calling for renewed international cooperation for urgent climate action guided by the established principles of the Climate Convention, the Prime Minister urged that the climate conference must result in tangible outcomes and take bold decisions to address the negative impacts of the climate change. While dilating upon Pakistan's priorities for the conference, the Prime Minister emphasized on the urgent need for scaled-up and predictable financial flows to meet adaptation needs in the developing countries. He called for establishing a dedicated financing facility to address climate-induced loss and damage and welcomed the agreement to formally discuss funding arrangements for loss and damage under the COP agenda, a key objective pursued by Pakistan as chair of the Group of 77 and China. On the sidelines, the Prime Minister held a number of formal and informal interactions with several world leaders, including the German Chancellor, the Egyptian President, and the Prime Minister of Norway. During these meetings, discussions covered matters of mutual interest for cooperation in both bilateral and multilateral spheres. The Prime Minister also met the UN Secretary General and held a press stakeout at the Pakistan Pavilion, established to project Pakistan's climate actions at COP27. The regular component of the COP27 would continue till 18th November 2022. In its capacity as the incumbent chair of the Group of 77 in China, Pakistan is leading the developing countries in the climate change negotiations, including in the thematic areas such as climate finance, adaptation, mitigation, and capacity building. Reporting for PTV World, Alamdar Kazmi.
Now, Minister for Information and Broadcasting Mariam Aurangzeb has termed Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's visit to Egypt as successful, saying Climate Implementation Summit remained fruitful, especially in the context of Pakistan. In a statement, she said it was for the first time that fiscal impact of the climate change in the developing countries was also recognized. She said that there was also an unprecedented international consensus to compensate the developing countries through provision of the financial resources. The Information Minister said Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is the only one who is engaged in serving the masses ever since coming to the power, whilst there is a character on the other side who is only busy in stoking chaos and anarchy. Mariam Aurangzeb said they are trying to build the economy on strong footings, regretting the politics of those who are resorting to the politics of arson and vandalism and attacking the institutions. The Information Minister later onwards said that we are working to save the flood-affected people in Pakistan from winter, disease and hunger, while on the other hand, some elements unfortunately are blocking the access of children and ambulances to the hospitals.
Chief of Army Staff General Javed Bajwa has visited Peshawar and directed the troops to all stay focused on their professional duties in the service of the nation. Addressing the officers and men of Peshawar Corps, the Army Chief appreciated the formation for monumental efforts in achieving peace and stability. General Javed Bajwa said, "We owe it to the sacrifices of our martyrs for providing secure and enabling environment for socio-economic development in newly merged districts in particular and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in general." The Army Chief said all will stay focused on their professional duties in the service of nation. Earlier, on arrival at Corps headquarters, the Army Chief was received by Lieutenant General Hassan Azhar Hayat, Commander of Peshawar Corps. General Javed Bajwa laid floral wreath at Shuhada Monument.
Well, Pakistan Navy ships comprising PNS Nasser and PNS Shamsher port called on Yokosuka, Japan, and participated in the International Fleet Review organized to commemorate the 70th anniversary of founding of the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Forces. The IFR formation comprised of these 38 units, including 18 ships and submarines from different navies. The visit of the Pakistan Navy ships to Japan and participation in IFR is aimed at strengthening the bilateral ties, enhancing interoperability between the two navies, and to explore new vistas of defense cooperation. Concurrent to the visit of Pakistan Navy ships, Chief of the Naval Staff Admiral Muhammad Amjad Khan Niazi is also on official visit to Japan. Now, Admiral Amjad Khan Niazi attended the 18th Western Pacific Naval Symposium organized with aim to strengthen mutual Navy cooperation and discuss global and regional maritime issues among the navies of the world. Pakistan Navy ships participated in IFR with other naval ships at Sagami Bay. Chief of the Naval Staff witnessed IFR from Japanese ship Zumo along with Japanese Prime Minister and naval heads of various navies. On the sidelines of IFR and symposium activities, Naval Chief had meetings with the Chief of JMSDF, Self-Defense and Naval Chiefs of Australia, Bangladesh, Canada, Colombia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, South Korea, Singapore and Royal Navy of United Kingdom. Now, during the meetings, matters of mutual interest, emerging shared security challenges in maritime domain and bilateral naval collaboration were discussed.
President Dr. Arif Alvi has approved the appointment of 3 judges in the Supreme Court of Pakistan, including Chief Justice of Islamabad High Court Justice Athar Manila. The President also approved the appointment of Sindh High Court Judge Justice Syed Hassan Azhar Rizvi and Justice Shahid Wahid of Lahore High Court as the judges of the Apex Court. The President also approved the appointment of Justice Amir Farooq as Chief Justice of Islamabad High Court, who would replace Justice Athar Manila. Dr. Arif Alvi made the aforesaid appointments under Article 175 of the Constitution.
Also, President Dr. Arif Alvi has urged to undertake financially sustainable and viable development projects besides reducing the pilferage in government departments' expenditures to enhance efficiency and reduce the financial burden on the governments. The President expressed these views during a briefing on the development projects in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa at Governor House in Peshawar. He said that better planning and implementation of development projects by the trained and qualified development professionals could of course help improve overall service delivery in the country and help meet people's expectations. The President said that better financial controls and enhanced accountability of the government departments would help improve the efficiency and efficacy of the development projects, besides help reduce the financial burden on the national and provincial exchequers. He also appreciated the development activities undertaken by the provincial government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and highlighted the need to overcome the gap between the people's expectations and service delivery. Now, moving on further, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari held a meeting with his Egyptian counterpart Sameh Hassan Shokri on the sidelines of COP27 World Leaders Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. The Foreign Minister congratulated the Egyptian Foreign Minister for excellent arrangements for the COP27. He invited Foreign Minister Shokri to visit Pakistan early next year to commence the bilateral activities for celebrations of 75 years of friendly relations. During the meeting, the foreign ministers also discussed bilateral relations and exchanged views on regional and international issues of mutual interest. They also discussed the way forward for enhanced bilateral engagement to further strengthen their cooperation in political, trade, economic, cultural and commercial domains. Now, Pakistan and Egypt have long-standing cooperative relations rooted in common faith, culture and values. The year 2022 marks the 75 years of the Pakistan and Egypt bilateral relations.
On the other hand, Minister for Climate Change Sherry Rahman has said delayed climate justice is the death sentence for the vulnerable. She said this while speaking at a panel discussion titled The Lost and the Damaged, Pakistan's Climate Catastrophe at the Pakistan Pavilion at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh. She said there is a race against time now for adapting to the climate crisis, and those with better resources will adapt faster, whereas for others it will be delayed. Sherry Rahman said her agenda at COP27 was to ensure that loss and damage moves beyond a bumper sticker. Cataphrase for the global south and some bargain are broken with parties from the global north.
Minister of State Hina Rabbani Kher held meeting with Director Office of the Foreign Assistance in the U.S. State Department, Jatnet Rahman. The Minister of State thanked the United States for its valuable support in the aftermath of the recent devastating floods. Hina Rabbani Kher said Pakistan looks forward to continued partnership for building a better plan for the flood-affected areas in Pakistan.
Meanwhile, China has donated 100,000 doses of hepatitis A vaccine to Pakistan. Speaking at a ceremony in Islamabad, Minister for National Health Services Abdul Qadir Patel thanked the Chinese gesture, saying this is a timely support and the vaccines will reach vulnerable people whose livelihoods have been affected by the recent floods. The minister said China has always supported Pakistan during difficult times. Abdul Qadir Patel said both the countries will work together in the health sector.
Pakistan Zindabad rallies were held in Job, Noshki, Bela and Sobatpur districts of Balochistan to express support with Pakistan Army. The participants said they are standing shoulder to shoulder with Pakistan Army for the defense of the motherland. They said peace has been restored in the country after great sacrifices of the law enforcement agencies. They paid rich tributes to the sacrifices of the security forces and said that peace and stability in the country is due to their sacrifices.
Also, overseas Pakistanis in different countries around the world have remained loyal with their homeland and Pakistan Army. Recently, there was a stir by the Indian media, which was strongly responded by the overseas Pakistani community, holding rallies in favor of their army. In various countries of Europe, including Switzerland, Great Britain, Spain and South Africa, the Pakistani community also held a rally in favor of the Pakistan Army. Meanwhile, the participants have expressed full confidence in the Pakistan Army and reiterated their commitment that the Pakistan Army and the people are connected with each other and any kind of conspiracy will be countered together.
Now, in collaboration with the Pakistan's embassy, Pehram-e Pakistan event was organized in Austria to promote unity among Pakistani community. The famous award-winning Qari Sayyid Sadakat Ali attended the ceremony as a special guest. The event is one of the series of the stability of Pakistan. At the event, Qari Sadakat said that unity among the Muslims is one of the main messages of the Holy Quran. He said that Pakistani community should convey the message of peace of Islam to the world through their character and actions. At the end of the ceremony, prayers were offered for the martyrs of Pakistan forces and national security.
Islamabad College for Girls organized the Color First ceremony to pay glowing tribute to Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Details in the following report by our correspondent Fahad Ahmed Mason.
The inculcation of the message of Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal, a revolutionary poet and philosopher, in the minds of the students is a key to reinforcing the spirit of Pakistan's ideology, as he was the one who suggested the idea of a separate state for Muslims in the subcontinent. Upholding the glorious tradition, the Islamabad College for Girls took initiative to indoctrinate the students with the teachings of Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal, who was also a great inspiration for the Pakistan movement. Speaking on the occasion, Federal Minister for Education and Professional Training, Rana Tanveer Hussain said Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal infused a new spirit to regain lost identity of the Muslims of the subcontinent, who would always remain indebted to this great visionary leader for his invaluable services. The talented students of the junior section of ICG presented Kalam Iqbal. The promising students enlightened the audience through their eloquent speeches that Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal was the man who dreamt of a separate nation where Muslims could live peacefully, prosper, and ultimately enjoy practicing their religion with a total freedom. The students also recited national songs and presented a beautiful and thought-provoking tableau. The function was well attended by the officials from the Ministry of Federal Education and Professional Training, Islamabad Directorate of Education, as well as staff and students of the institution. At conclusion of the ceremony, a cake was also cut to pay rich and glowing tribute to Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Fahad Ahmed Mason, PTV World, Islamabad.
Now, in connection with the birth anniversary of Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal, Pakistan Air Force has released a short documentary video paying tribute to the national poet. A reaffirmation has also been in the documentary that every Shaheen of the Pakistan Air Force is always ready for the defense of the motherland and will not refrain from rendering any sacrifice when the need arises.
नबाज़े बहारी न गुलशी न बुलबुल न बीमारी नग़्मे आशिकाना ख़याबानियों से है परहेज लाजिम अदाए है इनकी बहुत दिल बराना हवाए बयाबा से होती है कारी जवां मर्द की ज़रबते गाज़ियाना हमामो कबूतर का भूखा नहीं मैं कि है जिंदगी बाज की जाहिदाना झपटना पलटना पलट कर झपटना लहू गर्म रखने का है एक बहाना ये पूरब ये पश्चिम चकोरों की दुनिया मेरा नीलगू आसमां बेकरार परिंदों की दुनिया का दरवेश हूं मैं शाही बनाता नहीं आशियाना
German Consul General to Karachi, Dr. Roger Galois, on the occasion of Iqbal Day, paid tribute to Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal for his meritorious work and services for the people of Pakistan.
Iqbal Day. And it's a great day also to celebrate the close relations, the close cultural relations, because Iqbal in his work refers repeatedly to Goethe and other German philosophers. Last year we had prepared a copy of his PhD from Munich. It is wonderful to see how many Pakistani students follow his footsteps and study in our country. So it's a great opportunity to celebrate Iqbal Day, and by the way, may Iqbal Day also bring good luck to the Pakistani cricket team today.
Now, Minister for Information and Broadcasting Mariam Aurangzeb has said that the government is supporting the filmmakers to reach their potential. In a tweet, the Information Minister said everyone in the film industry must play their part too. She expressed pleasure over the unprecedented success of the legend of Maula Jatt in Pakistan and abroad, saying this is a testament to the country's filmmaking talent.
Stage actor Tariq Teddy has been hospitalized after his health condition worsened a few days ago. He has appealed to his fans to pray for his recovery. More in this report by our correspondent Mohammed Junaid.
It is said that artists are like candles. They burn themselves up to give others light. It's very unfortunate that our system fails to take care of them when they need help the most. Such is the case with renowned stage actor Tariq Teddy. He is hospitalized after his health worsened more than a week ago. The comedian is suffering from liver disease. Doctors have advised Tariq to go to Pakistan Kidney and Liver Institute, but according to family sources, he has no money to pay the dues. No provincial government official has visited him in the hospital. In addition to thousands of stage performances, Tariq was starred in the film Salahe. Fellow artists and fans pray for his speedy recovery and hope that the stage legend gets the help he truly deserves. Reporting for PTV World, this is Mohammed Junaid.
World at large now, starting off with the U.S. elections, where the U.S. election officials continue to count ballots across the country. Partial results are showing that Democrats have avoided their worst fears, while Republicans are still holding out hope that they will retake both chambers of the Congress. Republicans are likely to take control of the House of Representatives, but the Senate fight is on a knife's edge. If Democrats lose control of either, Republicans will be able to block President Joe Biden's agenda. Democrat John Fetterman, who suffered a stroke in May, defeated his Republican seat opponent Mehmet Ozi to flip a key Senate seat in Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis has won a large victory to stay in the office, setting him up for a potential 2024 presidential bid. Pro-choice advocates are celebrating victories to enshrine abortion rights in Vermont, Michigan, and California. Ballots are also being tallied across the U.S. Their results could have a dramatic effect on the U.S. political landscape as Republicans seek to wrest control of the Congress from President Biden's Democrats. According to early exit poll data, rising prices and abortion policy are the main issues affecting voters' decisions.
The UK government has paid out for the deaths of at least 4 times as many Afghan children than it has previously admitted to. According to BBC, compensation payments have been issued for 64 children rather than the 16 publicly acknowledged. All were killed in fighting involving UK forces between 2006 and 2014. The new figures come from Freedom of Information requests made by the Charity Action on Armed Violence. Airstrikes and being caught in crossfire were among the most common causes of death that were listed. Charity Action on Armed Violence believes the number of recorded civilian deaths caused by British forces is likely to be an underestimate.
Moving on to the UK politics, where British Minister Sir Gavin Williamson has resigned after the allegations of bullying. The Member of the Parliament had been accused of sending abusive messages to a fellow Tory Member of the Parliament last month and of bullying a senior civil servant as Defence Secretary. He added that the claims were becoming a distraction from the government's good work. In his resignation letter, he said he was leaving the government with real sadness, but offered Prime Minister Rishi Sunak his full and total support from the backbenchers. He later tweeted he would not be taking any severance pay, adding that the money should go towards the government's priorities, such as reducing the NHS waiting lists. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has come under the fire for appointing Williamson, who had previously been fired as Defence Minister and Education Minister by Sunak's predecessors, to a ministerial role in the Cabinet Office just 2 weeks ago.
A British police force said one of its officers was injured responding to climate activists who have blocked off a major motorway outside London. Essex police said the officer was hurt in a collision involving 2 lorries and a rolling roadblock put in place in response to the protesters. Climate activists from the group Just Stop Oil have been climbing overhead gantries above the M25 motorway, which circles London over the last 3 days as part of a civil disobedience movement aimed at putting pressure on the government over fossil fuels. The group describes itself as a coalition of groups working together to bring an end to the exploration, development and production of fossil fuels.
In an unfortunate incident, 6 people were killed in a 5.6 magnitude earthquake that struck western Nepal in the early hours on Wednesday, causing tremors as far away as New Delhi. The epicenter was near the Nepalese municipality of Dipayal at a depth of 15 kilometers. 6 people died in the western district of Doti, including 3 members of the same family. 5 others were injured and were undergoing the treatment at a local hospital. Tremors were felt in northern India as well, but there were no reports of deaths or damage either. Nepal is still rebuilding after 2 major earthquakes in 2015 that killed almost 9,000 people, destroyed the whole towns and centuries-old temples, and of course caused a $6 billion blow to the economy.
Greek police detained at least 10 people after clashes erupted during a protest outside Parliament against soaring inflation affecting households. Police found tear gas to disperse a group of protesters throwing stones and petrol bombs at police. Thousands of workers went on strike, demanding higher wages to cope with inflation as Europe's soaring in energy prices and living costs trigger industrial action and protests across the continent. Police said some 20,000 protesters took part in the Athens march to Parliament.
Now, preparations for the upcoming ASEAN Summit and related forums are underway in Phnom Penh, with decorations and tightened security around the Cambodian capital. More than 10,000 security forces have been deployed to maintain security and safety during the 40th and 41st ASEAN and other summits. The top leaders from around Asia and beyond, including U.S. President Joe Biden, are expected to participate in the various regional forums to discuss ways to enhance bilateral cooperation and economic partnerships. The ASEAN summits will take place from Thursday to Sunday.
The Cygnus cargo craft has arrived at the International Space Station. Footage from NASA showed astronauts capturing the SS Telluride ship with the Canada-Arm-2 robotic arm. According to NASA, the ship is carrying a supply of 8,200 pounds of scientific investigations and cargo to the orbiting laboratory. The spacecraft is named in honor of the late NASA astronaut Telluride, who was the first American woman in space.
The Tianqiu-4 cargo spacecraft has successfully detached itself from the Tiangong space station after completing a supply delivery mission. Tianqiu-4 was launched to space on 10th of May from the Wenchang Space launch site in South China's Henan province, carrying about 6 tons of the supplies to the space station. The spacecraft, currently in good condition, will make a controlled re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere at an appropriate time.
Most Beijing residents will be required to undergo COVID testing every 24 hours instead of the usual 72 hours as China battles a rebound in infections in several economically vital cities, including the capital, Beijing. China reported 8,335 new COVID-19 infections for Tuesday, with Beijing accounting for 32 symptomatic and 48 asymptomatic cases. Beijing resident Wang Chaomin said he found the tighter measure acceptable for the sake of everyone's health, as the COVID situation in the capital was still quite serious. Another Beijing resident who works in the insurance industry said his office building has been locked down and that he had to work out of a new location. While COVID cases in China are small by global standards, the policy response has been relentless, and mass testing for large populations has been the norm since 2020.
On to Europe now, where more than 200 migrants on board Norwegian flag rescue ship their parents were finally allowed ashore in Catania. The 212 migrants disembarked after the Italian government permitted only the selective disembarkation of the migrants from that vessel run by the French charity Doctors Without Borders. On the same day, Rise Above, a rescue ship of the German charity mission Lifeline, was allowed to enter the port of Reggio Calabria and disembarked 89 people it had picked up in the Mediterranean. 35 migrants who were held up on the rescue ship have been also allowed ashore in Sicily, ending a standoff between the German charity that runs the vessel and Italy's new right-wing government.
Giant rats wearing tiny high-tech backpacks are being trained in Tanzania for search and rescue operations because of their size and agility. Rats could also be a valuable tool for existing search and rescue efforts. The rats, however, are not usual rodents that most people associate with garbage and disease. These are African giant pouch rats that can weigh up to around 1,500 grams. Not only are these rats very biddable, meaning they can be trained much like a dog, but they also have a longer lifespan than other rats. The rats are trained to locate humans in mock disaster zones, such as after an earthquake, and will eventually be outfitted with a technology-enabled backpack to enable real-time wireless audio-visual communication from within the debris site. Now, Hong Kong's Empress Museum will exhibit Yayoi Kusama 1945 to now, the largest retrospective exhibition of the contemporary Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama outside of Japan. In a media preview, more than 200 of Kusama's paintings, drawings, sculptures, installations, and archive materials were on display. Kusama 1945 to now narrates the story of the artist's life from the earliest drawings she made as a teenager during World War II to her most recent immersive pieces. The large-scale exhibition examines Kusama's practice as it developed in Japan, the United States, Europe, and beyond through 6 different themes: infinity accumulation, radical connectivity, biocosmic death, and force of life.
Well, dry weather is expected in most parts of the country. Isolated rain, thunderstorm with snow over the hilly areas is expected in Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir as well. Well, that's all we have from my side. Taking you back to the main desk.
Well, thank you, Rafi. With this, we come towards the end of our bulletin. That's all for now from our side. Myself, Ali Ahmed, my co-anchors, Hiram Mustafa and Rafi Iqbal, along with the entire news team of PTV World Islamabad Studios. For more details and live streaming, do log on to our website, world.ptv.com.pk. Of course, you can find us on our Facebook page in the name of PTV World, and don't forget to follow us on our Twitter handle @WorldPTV. For more news, updates and analysis, keep watching PTV World.